Hey Andromedan Starseeds, welcome to Starseed Energetics. My name is Bora and thank you so much for being here. I've been MIA for a bit. A lot of you have been worried about me, but don't worry, I was just going through all of these photonic energies just as you have. And it was best for me to just really focus on certain things in my life, as I'm sure it would have synced with your need to focus on certain things in your life, not necessarily these readings, maybe, I don't know, but I'm here now. I'm gonna read your November energy. It is still early on in the month, so I did miss you guys so much, because for me to connect with you and serve you, whoever is tuned in to my channel, you're on a certain soul frequency bandwidth, so if I don't connect with you, it does give me a little bit of like I'm missing something. So I'm glad to be back. And you know, I really know that this is one of my most important things, to serve you guys in giving you these readings for whoever resonates. Okay. Okay, so the first star system that's coming to me right now is Andromeda, for sure. Out of all of them, I don't know if I've been missing for 1 month or two. I don't even remember. Actually, it hasn't even been that long then. But it feels like I've been gone for like so long. It feels like I've been gone for like a few months, so. Okay, let's just turn this on. I definitely hear you that you are focused on your career or life's purpose, and that's your main focus for this month, or whatever, you know, whatever timeline you are inquiring about. So even when you are focused on your life's mission and your career, I want you to really prioritize one thing, and that is your emotional frequency. And the ultimate manifestation of emotional mastery comes from your ability to tune into your awareness rather than your emotions. So just holding space for your emotions. So if you can just think that no matter what emotion is happening in your field, whether that's like ultimate bliss or sadness or grief or depression even, the highest form of mastery would come from, if you can just imagine that emotions are a sphere of light. Let's say that your emotional body is a certain auric emanation from your physical body that encompasses your physical body. there's only so much that they can penetrate out into the ether. Your emotional body is like a speck of dot compared to your actual awareness. So whenever you find yourself kind of lost in the sauce of your emotions, that's because you're using your subjective perception to pay attention to your emotional body, and your entire experience is engulfed in those emotions. But when you can tune out to your actual awareness, if I can just draw like a picture, that would be great, but like just imagine this filter of experience. Let's just reduce our awareness to a filter of experience, and it's this entire sheet of paper. Your emotions are just like one dot, and no matter how intense the emotions are, all it will ever be has a limited kind of scope. So I want you to remember that, and you have the strength to hold space for those emotions. You are the space for the emotions. You're more than the space, you're more than the time, whatever. I'm just trying to adjust this lighting, I'm so sorry. It's like, should not be doing that. This is this if you can just use this cosmic fire energy to tame the beast that is the emotions. Imagine if your emotions are like a wild beast. This strength card, if you can just see, that's exactly how you can be mastering your emotions, and that's your ultimate kind of lesson for the month or energy for the month. And even if that seems like it has not much to do with your actual career or life purpose, which you're inquiring about, it is. Whenever people ask me about their life's mission during private readings and stuff, I always have to explain that your life's mission isn't really an action. It's actually coming from a state of frequency. So when you attune to the highest level of your frequency, and when you can really fine-tune your soul's frequency, your life's mission is a byproduct of that. So it's not like you have to like purposefully do something as your life's mission, but it comes more from like this receptive state of refining your frequency. So do what makes you happy, master your emotions, and then naturally as a byproduct, your creative fulfillments are so much more magnified. And I see like it's coming to a huge transformation. So if you are unhappy with the things that you're doing in your life for a living or whatever, this is the month that it transforms. If you're already happy, this is a month that it transforms even more to a place where your life's mission just takes on a new clothing. Comes with death and temperance as well. So this temperance energy is definitely the predominant kind of energy. This temperance and strength has a very similar vibe in so that, you know, you are risen to the level of your, you know, higher perspectives in dealing with emotions and polarity and duality, and dealing with this wild beast that is another manifestation of this duality or polarity. And yeah, you're basically programming yourself out as a result. Even if you have this massive mission, in mastering your emotions, you cease to think and buy into the notion of working hard, like struggling to get things done, or just this feeling like if you want something, you have to work really hard for it. You have to struggle for it. Like you have to hustle. Hustling is so old earth. You don't have to hustle. No more of this. I don't read reversals, but for this one I will. Because I said so. Because they said so. My counsel said so. Okay? Oh yeah. In the recent past, I mean, so even so as like you could be experiencing this in the current timeline, or just this is a timeline that is the past, but you often revisit because it was an echo from the past, is just worrying about things, you know, being sleepless. Sometimes you just worry about nothing and you anchor it into certain situations, but it's just so that no matter what the situation is, basically this anxiety comes from your attunement to the entirety of your awareness to your emotional body, like thinking that that's your experience. So if you can tune back into the awareness, like I said, it's like this vast space, this vast, infinite, eternal, like 8th density awareness if you want. 7 or 6 is good enough, or even 5th, or even 4th, but anything but the 3rd. I'm just kidding. We love the 3rd density on a certain level. And this doesn't just go for emotions, but also your thoughts as well. It's usually intermingled with one another. So if you are attuned to your emotions and that brings about certain thoughts, it's like this, it just feels definitely like this, and it feels like this. But this is a month that you're taming that beast and realizing you are not this, but this, and all of it together, actually, all of it. Okay, so what's actually firing this, fueling this fire of you attaining this is this inner conflict. So you're going to have inner conflict, obviously. I mean, there's this thing that I was reading in this book. It was talking about how you have to turn obstacles into stepping stones. Otherwise, how are you going to have obstacles? I mean, I'm sure this is something that you are aware of, but let me just reiterate it for you to ponder upon once again. The boat floats on water because of the resistance that the water provides. Or like aerodynamics, you can't fly something unless there was resistance. So that you are having an experience of something like subjectivity, like a boat or a plane or a UFO if you want, scalar technology, anti-gravity. But even that wouldn't happen unless, how could there be anti-gravity unless there was gravity, right? So if you're having this experience of being a vessel for something, which you are, if you're watching this video, probably, you need this. So don't worry about it when it comes up. Just don't attune to it. Don't attune to it in a way that you're present for it, that you're holding space for it, but don't attune it to a level where you're like, you know, your awareness or your attention is basically constantly fluctuating, right? It's like an aperture. Your awareness is an aperture, and you can control it or master it so that when things like this happen, or when things like this happen, you're not fixated on that as your entirety of your experience, but you're more expanded. And you're very confused, actually. You don't know where things are going. You can't even plan ahead because you're confused. Like, I mean, your future timelines seem like a blur to you. So you're kind of like, this is where this anxiety is partially anchored upon, is this uncertainty. But let me just say to you, that's because you need to get used to there not being any clarity at all. When you step into this mastery of alchemy, and when you step into this like type of godhood where, you know, you're not 3rd density human anymore, you have to get comfortable with discomfort. You have to get clear with unclarity. You have to be comfortable with this from now on. So let's say that you're not sure what you want to do in a month, which is often what I experience. I can't even plan ahead in a month. I can't even book an Airbnb in a month because I'm not certain, you know, the level of freedom that you have manifested, even if, you know, it doesn't apply similar to what I am describing. You're not sure what you want. You're not sure what you want with your partner. Let's say you're not sure what you want with a friend. You're not sure what you want in your career. It's like so many options, but get used to that and just have faith that every single path, no matter what you choose, is a product of your frequency. So there's nothing that's going to be misaligned. And if you keep finding yourself comparing certain decisions that you made in the past and how tumultuous that was, and trying to avoid those kinds of situations, remind yourself you're not the same complex anymore. You're upgraded like 1,000,000 times better. So that the situations that you attract are 1,000,000 times more upgraded than the past choices that you were making. Does that make sense? Oh, now you have the Tower, but I love the Tower. Does anybody else love the Tower? Like, when I first started reading the tarot cards, I was kind of like, I had mixed feelings about the Tower. Like, it's scary. Like, this is one of the scariest energies, but now I love it. I'm like, bring it. I love it. Like, it's basically like, and I love the Death card, you know, and it's right here actually. I love it's transformation. Does anybody else feel that way? It's like, yay, things are changing, you know, on a very dramatic scale. But be careful not to be like me and like chase after really dramatic transformations. Like when you step into a level of mastery over either manifestations or personal reality navigation, you could get addicted to this path of like drama. Like you really love dramatic changes. I just want to put out a word of caution that sometimes that's an addiction. Like you love dramatic transformations. Maybe, you know, subtle things are fine sometimes. That's why you're learning this temperance. But regardless, this is I don't know, let's see what's changing. Woo. So just in case you're not familiar with what I do, I put out the cards and I don't flip them until I'm reading the position. That's just how I like to read it. Unless the card like really flips itself out on the other side. But now in the self position, you have the star. So you are so freaking aligned. You're actually coming to a solar kind of resonance. So this means that you're stepping into a direct kind of connection with your solar self, like a monadic self. So if you understand these language that I'm using, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't really resonate, that's okay. And if you're still tuned in, that's fine. You will eventually learn what it means, or at least your subconscious mind will understand it. I think part of my problem as a reader, or you know, I have sometimes these educational videos, and a lot of the times when people stumble across like what I do, if they meet me in person and they learn what I do on YouTube and stuff like that, they kind of ask me like, why don't you make videos that are more informative about the things you talk about or the concepts? And I've always had this, I'm actually like this little part that I'm rambling, it's a question to you. So a lot of people say, why don't you have more introductory level videos like that talk about certain concepts? And I'm kind of on a level where I'm like, I actually just only want to manifest people or audiences, or resonate with an audience that already understands what I'm talking about. I don't want to get into the beginner, like 101, like what is a starseed, or how do you find your starseed heritage, or stuff like that. Do you guys think that I should start? Because I'm open to it. And I feel like maybe this is some kind of resistance that I'm having. Do you guys think that I should, like, for example, explain the solar consciousness and talk about different star systems? Because I don't, right? So I want to ask you this. If you have an opinion, please comment about that. Anyways, you're aligning with your stellar self. That means that you have like absolute full self-empowerment, and you can definitely channel the level of self-empowerment that you have. You can always outsource things, like to manifest things. Like you don't have to necessarily create everything from your free will. You can use your free will to manifest higher outcomes through automated free will, like if that makes sense. But just you're stepping into also channeling the various different collectives of star systems, like your clearer channel. And what this means on an earthly level, which is the foundation of yourself in this personal reality that you're experiencing, is an extreme cleansing and healing on a physical level. So you will be experiencing this amazing grace in a rejuvenated physical body. And like beauty, basically, because health equals beauty. And not in a way that beauty from like a socially constructed kind of beauty, but more like this radiating light, you know, almost like this bioluminescence. Your environment is the Three of Cups. I see you celebrating with your friends, you know, this is always that. But there's something definitely to be celebrating about. I see that you're going to be, you know, I think this transformation of your life's mission, or I wouldn't say it's transformation. It's always been the blueprint where it would have gone, but it's a refinement of your life's mission. It gets more and more aligned. You get more and more aligned with the right people, the right circumstances, a lot of synchronicities, and just this faith that you will cultivate, and this temperance that you will cultivate. And also your breathing room, the room that you hold for flexibility as well. But in any case, I see people celebrating with you and around you. Good people. Good people. Look at it. It's the sun. Remember when I was saying, you know, the sun is a star as well. So this is just a different perspectives on this absolute empowerment. And I think your main focus is on this empowerment. And it makes sense because learning to tune into a higher kind of bandwidth of awareness that is so much greater than thoughts and emotions, you know, that is absolute empowerment. That's just a translation of how to empower yourself, is to attune to the higher level of awareness that is in the background of all of your experiences. Final outcome, the Four of Pentacles. Why is that the Four of Pentacles? Why? I have to clarify this. That's definitely your ego. That's what I'm hearing. But what about the ego? What does that have to do with this? The Emperor. The Knight of Cups. What? The Six of Swords. Movement. I love this card as well. If you can't tell, I love movement cards, change cards, transformation cards. I think also because that's like literally what we're going through, all of us. And I'm sure like you guys understand why I was missing in action for a few weeks. And also I had a lot of personal, oh my God, I have to stop rambling. I had a lot of personal readings and I just like, it was a lot to handle. Aww. Another Ace of Wands. You have, so I just shuffled another deck and you have two Ace of Wands. Do you understand that this is like the ultimate fruition of your life's mission? Like even if you are confident that you're on the right path regarding your life's mission, this is the time that you're gonna understand the deeper and deeper layers of your life's mission. Simply because you're not so attached to it anymore. Even though your experiences of being human has so much to do with this, you know, starseed missions. When starseeds come here and reincarnate here, they're literally like obsessed with their mission. It's not obsessed, but you know, devoted is a better word. It's really gonna transform this month in terms of how it manifests. And I feel that you have a lot of environmental support, and there's especially this masculine figure, not just masculine, but if you have more feminine energy, which is receptive and you like to outsource and receive, there's a clear match for that energy that is offering you this support and divine love, but you're kind of, number one, afraid that if you share this mission, you're terrified that you're not going to recognize where it heads. But that's the exact level of discomfort or confusion you have to be open to. You have to listen to your heart. Like right now, you're like really not trying to listen to your heart. I mean, that's the card I have as your final outcome. And I mean, it's fine. There's transformations occurring anyway, regardless of how your ego acts. There's greater forces at work. But why aren't you receiving it? And if you have more masculine energies, this just talks about a different structure as a whole, as to how you execute something, or you have to learn how to pivot. So if you know all of these startup communities in Silicon Valley, people are obsessed with like exponential growth and creating, you know, massive startups that transform industries. One of the things that they stress the most is pivoting. So taking in your environmental influences and constantly breaking your belief systems and paradigms and what you think you should be making, or what kind of service you think you're so tied to. Because a lot of the times when people invest a lot of time and energy into a certain project, they get very attached to the initial idea when they shouldn't be. They should be more focused on the ebb and flow of how that transforms rather than where it came from. But for example, let's say I don't know, like Netflix had this service where they were distributing DVDs or something in the beginning. I'm pretty sure that was the case. And imagine if they were so tied upon that mission and they defined that as the mission when the core of it was so different. Like the core essence of it, when they pivot and they adapt to the circumstances and the different supporting systems, now they're doing this thing where the physical DVD has nothing to do with that, but there might be a level of you that's like so attached to something. Let it go. And that's why this life mission is transforming so much. I think whatever that you've been working on is going to go through a heavy transition, but this is also your manifestation. Don't think that other people are also your manifestation. The external influences are your manifestations as well. So don't worry about where this is headed. Just focus on your frequency. That's your main priority. But your energy, man, like you have all of these. I mean, if these show up as your energies and you have something like this as an outcome, I'd be like, why, right? Relax. But I'm not worried because this is just like a one level of you, and basically you're learning how to not associate yourself so much with this. Even if you have a really shitty ego, as long as you don't focus on it so much, you're not operating from that often. So it's okay. Just focus on shifting out of it. No matter how shitty your ego is, if you can just learn to tap out of it, doesn't even matter. Okay, that was the end of your reading. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope it has been helpful. I love you guys so much. Thanks for your patience, and I'll see you soon. Bye.